Mama, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Talk.
Yeah. This is Lena Mandelbaum. I'm born in Germany in 1927. We lived in Germany when I was a child till 1939. And in 1939, we came to Poland.
Start from the beginning.
Okay. My name is Lena Mandelbaum. I'm born in Germany in 1927. We moved from Germany to Poland in 1938. And this is where we went to concentration camp. From 1937, we went to concentration camp, and we were in concentration camp from 1942 to 1945. This was in Czechoslovakia and Parchnice, Oberschlesien. After we worked there for 3 years, and when the war ended, when the war ended in 1945, we were liberated by the Poles, and we went to look for family. In family, my sister and myself, we went to Poland to see who is alive from 1945. This was the story, starting the story of our life in Germany and Poland.
Talk about your father.
Yeah, my father and my mother, when my father went to concentration camp, and my mother and my 2 brothers went to Auschwitz, and they went to they went to Auschwitz,
and they were
and
murdered.
And they were cremated in Auschwitz. From there, we were in camps till 1945.
Okay.
In 1945, we were liberated in Parchnice, Oberschlesien.
And then you went to...
My sister and myself, we went to look for family, and we wind up in Poland to see who is alive. And finally, we found my brother, who was in concentration camp in Dachau. And from there, we found him, and we started to go to see where we can go from there to the United States, or whoever would take us Jewish immigrant. And we wind up in Germany, Landsberg, Oberschlesien. From there, I met my husband, and
what's his name?
yeah, when we found out, we were working there for a while, which was not concentration camp.
It was
Yeah, it was a
school. You were learning.
So we wind up in Landsberg, Oberschlesien, and we went to school there till 1949. And I met my husband, and we got married in 1947. And from there, we came to the United States.
Okay, Rabbi, you want to stop now for a second? You're not going to go back there. You're going to talk about school.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
We
Stop.
went to a German school for 4 years. And then when Hitler came to power, he threw us all out and we wind up in Poland. And from there,
Yes.
we went to Poland,
You were
my
ready.
parents and my two brothers. Unfortunately, in 1942, they all went to Auschwitz. And I went to concentration camp with my sister. Without my sister, I would not be here today. And we wind up in a camp,
Okay, you talked about that.
and the camp was Landsberg, which is a DP camp for people who wanted to migrate to the United States or to Israel. Fortunately, at the time, Israel was not Israel, it was a
Palestine.
It was a
Palestine.
displaced person. And we wind up, I met my husband, and we got married in 1947. And from here, we waited to get to the United States.
Good.
Because we had family which lived in Germany just like us, but they had a chance to come in 1939 to the United States. A very big family, and they all came here, and they made papers for us to come to the United States. It took us a while to get there, but then the Hayas opened up for displaced people, which were liberated, and gave them papers to come here. And it took us a long time. It was a place which called the Pecan, Germany, Landsberg. And we waited. In the meantime, in Landsberg,
You learned
I went
English.
to school,
Yes,
and I
learned
in
English.
German and in English school, and waited for the visa to come to the United States. Finally, in 1947, we came. We had got visas. My cousins made them papers, and we came here in 1950. 1950, to the United States, to cousins and family.
And where did they live?
Yeah,
What part of the United States?
it was part of the
Brooklyn?
United States
Was it
and Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York?
Yeah, and here we started to make a new life for ourselves, my husband and myself. It took us 3 years to come here. In 1950, they finally, my cousins, which were from German descent at the time, they made us paper. And we came here in 1950, March 21st, 1950, and made a life in the United States for ourselves.
All right. Rabbi, you want to stop here? You have
Time
five
was
languages. Okay, so
languages.
stop.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mama.
Okay.
1933 as a
In
child.
1933, we went to German school, and at the time, Hitler started to come to power, and he took over everything, and he did not allow the Jewish people to go to schools. So my parents had made visas to come. They were in Germany, and to come to the United States. Actually, it was at the time Poland. Yeah, and we came in March 21st, 1950.
Okay, but we're going to go back to 1933 when you were in
33.
school.
Oh, when I was, yeah,
What
we
did you
went
do
to
in school?
Polish. We had to go to Polish school, and we went 3 years in Polish school, and we had to learn a new language, and we had to learn Poland. And
Yiddish. Did you learn
yeah,
Yiddish also? You
yeah,
went to Yiddish school,
that was not 10 years. I was 10 years
10 years old. Good.
Right.
Okay.
And then, of course, by 39, Germany, they came to power and they threw out all the Jewish people, the German Jewish people, from schools and from all over.
So then you had to go to work.
Then we had to go to work.
So you were 12 years old.
I was 12 years old.
And what work did you do?
Yeah, I used to work by two machines, a sewing machine, and we worked there till 1939.
Right.
Yeah. In 1939, we had to settle in another country,
Like a ghetto.
and
You lived like in
we
a
moved-
ghetto.
Yeah, we moved to we moved to a smaller town where we went to work.
Okay.
I worked in a factory. I was 12 years old.
Yes.
And that was it started.
And it was very hard. The
very,
work was,
very difficult. I was 15 years old.
you were 12.
Yeah, 12 I was.
Yeah.
And of course, from there, my sister, and as a matter of fact, my sister and myself, when we had what they call the which is to, to separate people in
42.
1942. Yeah, and to separate us. And my sister and myself went to concentration camp, and my parents went to Auschwitz. And my two brothers, unfortunately, they never survived. Never
Survived.
They never survived
They were,
because they went to Auschwitz.
they were 10 and 11.
Yeah, they were tired. And,
10 and 11.
And they,
So
yeah.
Gladys and Lena, could I ask a couple of questions?
Yes. Yes.
So Lena, you said that your sister, you wouldn't be here except your sister helped you survive in the concentration camp. How did your sister help you survive?
Survive that she pulled me when we had the displaced, when they separated.
When they
us,
had this selection,
the selection, right?
her sister pulled her away from the mother with the two little brothers. So mom was the middle child. And then her brothers were 1 and 2 years younger than her. And they went with the mother, and her sister saw that what was happening. She was 2 years older than mommy, and she saved my mother's life by dragging her away from the mother. And she kept my mother alive for 3 years. She made sure that my mother got food. She made sure that my mother got good assignments, and she never left her side. And they survived together.
That's beautiful. And also I wanted to ask, Lena, when you were a little girl before Hitler came to power,
Right. We had
Gladys was saying that you went skiing and you went to swimming pools. Tell me, do you remember about that?
yeah, that was my childhood till 12 years old. We had the swimming pool. My parents were pretty well off because they were in the fruit business, and they walked all over the United States.
All over Europe.
And we went, by 1937, they decided it's enough for the Jews to work anymore. And they started to separate us.
Yes, that's what you said.
Selected,
But
Right.
so my mother had a nanny that took care of all 5 children.
Right.
Because her mother worked with her father in the wholesale fruit business.
Right.
And the nanny took one of her little brothers, who was beautiful with blonde curls, and she put him in a beauty pageant when he was 2 years old. And he won the beauty pageant.
Over 2,000 kids.
And she made believe it was her child because you couldn't put a Jewish child in the beauty pageant. So my mother remembers and this story, and this is a very, very good story about her family.
Unfortunately, they went to Auschwitz. My two brothers.
Yes, I know.
My
you told me
mother.
that. Yes.
Yes.
So, so my grandfather in around 1935 was traveling to Italy. A lot of the
Right.
fruit came through the Mediterranean and the ships would come in. He was in the wholesale fruit business.
Right.
And he was in Italy when they came looking for him. And he stayed in Italy for months at a time.
Right.
He came back to Germany where my grandmother was, and he told my grandmother, he's seen it, it's not good, they must leave. So the cousins that my mother spoke of in Germany all left before 1939. They saw the writing on the wall. My mother's, parent, her father was ready to go to America, where we had cousins from the early 1900s. But because her mother had 5 children, she felt that it would be too difficult for her to start all over again. And she refused to go.
Ah,
And
Right.
so
Right.
that's,
Yeah. And that's why they went to Auschwitz. And unfortunately, nobody was alive because they all gas chambered them.
yes. What else, Rabbi? Anything else?
no, I think that really tells, Lena, your story. And just thank you for making this recording. It's important that, we all remember, what happened during World War II, and that there were so many people who, who struggled and survived and created beautiful families, just like you did, Lena. So,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So what I'll do,